What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve.
I'm Lindsay.
Today we're going to be reading to the whole history of Britain in under 5 minutes. It's been a while since I've read anything about British history. This is a topic that, while I didn't really enjoy history in school, I've definitely come to sort of enjoy it as I've gotten older. Whole history in Britain under 5 minutes. That seems like a lot to promise.
I was going to say, I don't know how they're going to do it, but
It must just be touching on the bigger stuff because there's no way you can fit British history in 5 minutes. I don't care how fast you're
not
talking.
the entirety.
Right. So I'm very
gist,
curious. Yeah, I'm very curious on how this is going to go. I really haven't watched a ton of videos that were specifically about British history as a whole, like compilations of British history. I have seen a few. Most of the British history stuff I have seen has been on a single topic or something,
Right.
not like a compilation like this. I think we'll go ahead and get here and check out the whole history of Britain in under 5 minutes.
The whole history of Britain in under 5 minutes.
Remember the shard?
Today we'll take a whirlwind tour through the fascinating story of Britain. If I'm talking fast, it's because there's a lot of history to fit in.
There's a lot of history to check out just in this image, by the way.
Yeah.
All the
I believe
individual buildings and whatnot.
it. In London.
A lot of historic stuff there.
Let's dive in, start the clock. Ancient Britain. Around 30,000 years ago, the first humans arrived in Britain. As the Ice Age came and went, so did its early inhabitants. Around 8000 BC, Mesolithic hunter-gatherers settled in the British Isles. Stonehenge and the Bronze Age. Fast forward to 3000 BC and we enter the Neolithic period. This era saw the construction of Stonehenge and the growth of farming communities.
By the way, I didn't really read the article, but I just saw where they have, it seems like they now believe that Stonehenge stones were brought in from Scotland instead of the south of England.
Well, that's even more impressive.
That's what I'm saying. And now they're just talking about how big of an undertaking this would have been and how many different peoples, how many different groups would have had to work together to make this happen. So you've really
I so wish we could
go back in time.
Go back in time and just see what it was like, because it would be so cool. I don't want to stay there, but
No. I don't know. I think I'd like to go back to I think I could do good living in the 50s, 60s.
oh, well,
No, I know. I'm saying I would want to live back then, but I think there are certain times that I think I would appreciate living in kind of more modern times. But I don't know about you, but I think the type of history that I like the most is history about the building of tangible objects.
things that we can connect to the past,
Right.
in modern day.
Like something like Stonehenge.
Ruins and
And old buildings and things like that. You look at this, how in the world was that built thousands of years ago? It just boggles the mind how it was possible.
It's beautiful.
And why? Why go to this?
I know it leaves a lot
energy.
of questions, which
really
I think
does.
is part of why I like that type of history.
mystery.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
The Bronze Age soon followed, bringing advancements in metallurgy, trade and the construction of hill forts. The Celts and the Iron Age. By 800 BC, the Iron Age had arrived, and with it, the Celts. These tribes brought their unique art, culture and language to the British Isles. Roman Britain. In 43 AD, the Romans invaded Britain, bringing Roman culture, infrastructure and governance to the island. Roman rule lasted until the early 5th century when they withdrew to protect their crumbling empire. Anglo-Saxons. With the Romans gone, the Anglo-Saxons swept in, eventually creating the 7 Anglo-Saxon kingdoms known as the Heptarchy. Christianity was also introduced during this time. Vikings and the Norman Conquest. In the late 8th century, the Vikings arrived, invading and settling parts of Britain. The most famous Viking invasion was led by King Canute in 1016. Finally, in 1066, William the Conqueror and
This is about the period of time where I really start picturing people and things in my head about history.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to really grasp the history before around 1066.
Yeah, didn't somebody recommend a TV show?
Yeah.
Was it The Last Kingdom?
I've got it wrote down. I can't remember off
I
the top of
really
my
want to
head.
watch that because I think that would help visualize what it was like pre
It's
time period.
tough, man. I mean, and obviously, even after 1060, so many different things have happened. You got so many different kings and all these names to remember, all these
really
different
crazy.
battles, and like, unless you really study this, like with intense fervor,
Right.
it's hard to really grasp it all.
Right. I can't even remember all the U.S. presidents, so
Really?
No.
I mean, like,
I actually I was in the one class in school. I think it was in I don't remember what grade we learned the presidents, but I was in the only class that didn't have to memorize them all.
Really?
Like all the other classes they had to memorize.
Yeah.
But for some reason, so I don't know if that's lucky or unlucky. But
well, I mean, it's not really going to serve. It doesn't really serve a purpose to you now, but like,
no, but it's just convenient sometimes to know. Oh,
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
His Norman army defeated the Anglo-Saxons at the Battle of Hastings, leading to the Norman conquest of England. The Plantagenet dynasty and the Magna Carta. The Plantagenet dynasty emerged in 1154 with Henry II becoming king. His reign saw significant legal reforms and the expansion of the Angevin Empire.
We've got to look at the Magna Carta. Obviously know what it is, but it's something I've never really learned about. Like I probably learned about it in school, obviously.
I think there was a very brief,
right,
like a couple paragraphs about it.
Right, it's one of those things that you probably learn about in school.
Yeah.
You just again.
But, like I cared back then, I didn't think I
don't think most kids do about things like that when they're 13 years old or something.
If that, I
yeah.
don't know if I was,
But definitely would be interesting to learn about that now.
In 1215, King John was forced to sign the Magna Carta, a crucial document in the development of parliamentary democracy and individual rights. The Tudor era and Elizabethan age. The Tudor dynasty began in 1485 with Henry VII. His son, Henry VIII, is best known for his 6 wives and the English Reformation, which created the Church of England.
I can't believe you didn't know that song. Remember?
Which song?
I'm Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am, I am.
I've ever heard that.
How does
How
it
do
go?
you know it?
I got married to the widow next door. She'd been married 7 times before. It must be he who's been married 7 times. I don't know. But I sung that all the time as a kid.
How though? Where did it come from?
I have no idea. I just thought it was one of those little rhymes that every kid knew.
The reign of Elizabeth I saw a golden age of culture, exploration, and the defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588. Stuarts and Civil War. The Stuarts took the throne in 1603, with James VI of Scotland becoming James I of England. In the mid-17th century, tensions between the monarchy and Parliament culminated in the English Civil War. Oliver Cromwell led the parliamentarian forces to victory, and King Charles I was executed.
Cromwell.
After a brief public as a republic, the monarchy was restored in 1660 with Charles II. The Acts of Union and Hanoverians. In 1707,
Wait, isn't current King Charles III?
I don't know.
Isn't he?
Ask me.
Oh, I think he is. So that would mean he's been the first Charles since what day? When was that? The year 1660?
Acts of Union joined England and Scotland into the Kingdom of Great Britain. The Hanoverian dynasty began in 1714 with George I, and this period saw the growth of Britain's global empire, the Industrial Revolution.
Hold on. Did you look into the British Empire when it was at its peak? Have you looked at that yet?
I don't think so.
How the British Empire conquered the world or something like that?
I don't think I've seen it.
Okay, now that's something interesting to look in. We'll have to do that sometime
Was the
soon.
red all the places that they had conquered?
Yes.
In that image?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, I believe it was. I don't have it in front of me now, but I believe that's what that was.
Parliamentary reform. Victorian era. The Victorian era commenced in 1837 with Queen Victoria. Her reign witnessed continued industrial growth, social reform, and the expansion of the British Empire.
This is my favorite part of history from
I was
about
gonna say I really like the Victorian.
the Victorian era till, I don't know, the 1950s, 60s.
You know what's weird though? It seems like the timeline seems so much further back versus when you see the number in front of you, 1837. it's not that long ago, honestly.
Not when
in the
you-
grand scheme of things.
It seems like it is until you look back,
Right. But
starting
I
from
think it's
thousands of years
because
ago.
I think it's because things had changed so drastically from each century or whatever that it was so distinct,
Yes.
I guess, that it seems further separated than it is.
It's not even every century. And, like think about
Even
now.
Yeah, now it's quicker than that. But
Like you look at the changes since just 2005 when YouTube came out.
yeah,
You know, it was in the early 2000s when we started getting YouTube, and I think Facebook was.
MySpace. Remember MySpace?
Yeah,
Oh
that was
my
early
God.
2000s, I believe,
Yeah.
right? So you think push around 25 years really, and look at the massive amount of change we've had. We've had so much change in this 25 years. It probably mirrors what we had change-wise in the previous at least 50, maybe 100 years. And then, you know, with the Industrial Revolution came massive shakeup of everything. Everything changed with the Industrial Revolution, and everything's changed with the I can't say the word, technological revolution. It just seems like every single decade, things just get faster and faster and faster and faster. And it makes you wonder, what is history going to look like 100 years from now?
How can it,
When they look back on us?
like, is it going to slow down or is it going to just keep?
With technology, I
eventually-
don't imagine how it could slow down. As you know, they have the AI stuff going on now, meaning that stuff is just going to exponentially expand even faster and faster to the point of 50 years from now, there is no telling where we're going to be technologically at that point.
Yeah. I mean, but I thought by now we would have like the Jetsons cars and stuff. So,
Well, we could.
I know, that's my
But it's
point.
just not the direction things
Yeah.
went. I mean, we have the technology. We've had the technology to live like that for decades,
I know,
really.
we're not. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe it won't be that different. Maybe it's gonna.
Well, I think it's going to be different, but I think it's going to be a little more like Minority Report, unfortunately.
Making Britain the world's foremost power at the time.
There it is.
Victorian values and innovations left a lasting legacy.
Isn't that
in the nation.
saying?
World Wars. The 20th century was marked by 2 world wars. Britain played a major role in both, suffering significant losses and economic hardship. After World War II, Britain's global influence diminished and many of its colonies gained independence, leading to the formation of the Commonwealth of Nations. Post-war period. In the post-war period, Britain focused on rebuilding and modernising its economy. The National Health Service, NHS, was established
Right
in
after that.
1948, providing free
Right after World War
healthcare to all
II?
citizens. Britain joined the European Economic Community, the precursor to the
World War II was basically,
The catalyst for.
one of the major catalysts to lead to the NHS.
European Union in 1973. 21st century
Wait, I had no idea that Britain joined the European Union that early.
and Brexit. The 21st century brought a new millennium and a new set of challenges. The 9/11 attacks in the United States led to Britain's involvement in the wars of Afghanistan and Iraq. In 2016, the UK voted to leave the European Union in a historic referendum, and after years of negotiations, Brexit was finally completed on January 31st, 2020. Today,
Oh, wow. That took a while. It took, almost 4 years or 3.5 or something? Okay.
Yeah.
I've only briefly touched on Brexit,
Right.
but so I don't really know all the ins and outs of it. Obviously know what it is. You even know what it is.
I know the basic
Yeah.
idea, but I don't know. Like, I
Is
know
it-
a lot of people were upset because not much changed.
Well, it's a very polarizing topic. It seems like I mean, it was voted on almost like, I think it was
Yeah,
like
like right down the middle.
49 to 51 or even like something like that. It was like razor thin margins. And
Yeah.
it seems like when I've talked about that in the comments a little bit, or done a video about Brexit, it seems like that even in the comments, it's like, you could tell it's pretty much like 50-50 again.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly how that's affected the economy and stuff. Some people are really happy about it now. Some people aren't happy about it. So who knows?
Today, Britain is a diverse and multicultural nation, known for its cultural, scientific and technological contributions to the world. As the nation moves forward, it continues to adapt and evolve, carving out its place in the global landscape. And there you have it, the history of Britain in under 5 minutes. Of course, there's so much more to explore, but we hope this video has given you a quick and fascinating overview.
Wow. Well,
Impressive.
I would say that generally speaking, I'm pretty impressed with the overall what he talked about in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
Covered a lot.
It did cover a lot. I obviously, like he said, it wasn't
There's way more
the
to
whole.
it, yeah.
It's impossible. I don't think you could make a multi-hour video to cover everything, obviously.
Right. Yeah. It would take
But they cover most of the main, like, big topics. Let us know in the comments, guys, if he missed out on some really big topics that you feel like he should have covered. I'm sure there are some. But what are you most interested in learning about when it comes to kind of this topic? Even though it's not your favorite topic, what is something that you think you would find interesting about the historical side of the UK?
I really am interested in the Victorian era. The clothing, especially.
I love the buildings. I love the
And
architecture
buildings,
from that time. Yeah.
architecture, yeah. And also, just because it's such an integral part of British culture and history, I would like to learn about the royal family and
Oh yeah, that's both
some of that.
history and modern, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely want to dive deeper into the royal family. It's not really something I've really dived real deep into. I've learned, a little bit here or there, but definitely something I need to learn more about. But I think you would absolutely find the history of conquest interesting. I think you would be just floored at how large the British Empire was at one point. It's just not something you may have. You may have learned a little bit about it in school, but if you're like me, again, you don't remember that stuff when you're a kid. If you're not really interested in the history type stuff when you're 12 years old, and I think it's unfortunate a lot of kids just aren't interested in that stuff. And as you get older, you tend to kind of start seeing how not only important history is, but you kind of start seeing how interesting it can be piecing together these different time periods.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, I think that's it for us today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow us on our journey to discover anything and everything from the UK and Ireland. Until next time, guys, peace.